In the small town of Franklin, Ohio, Jefferson Middle School stood at the end of a quiet street, lined with maple trees. It wasn't a wealthy school. Most families worked hard just to get by. Factory workers, truck drivers, cashiers, single parents trying their best. And among the hundreds of students who walk through its doors every morning was a 12-year-old boy named Caleb Turner. Caleb wasn't the kind of kid who caused trouble. He sat quietly in class, finished his assignments, and rarely spoke unless someone spoke to him first. Most teachers liked him, but very few truly noticed him. Except for one, Mrs. Sarah Mitchell, a 7th-grade English teacher who had spent nearly 20 years teaching children. Sarah loved literature, but more than that, she loved helping students believe in themselves. She had learned something important over the years. Sometimes, the biggest struggles in a child's life never appeared on report cards. One Monday afternoon, Sarah was monitoring the cafeteria during lunch. The room buzzed with conversation. Students laughed, traded snacks, shared stories. But in the far corner, she noticed Caleb sitting alone. Again, he wasn't eating. At first, she assumed he had already finished. But the next day, the same thing happened. And the day after that, no lunch, no snacks, nothing, just a bottle of water. By Friday, Sarah's concern had grown. After class, she gently approached him. "Caleb, can I ask you something?" The boy looked nervous. "Sure, I've noticed you haven't been eating lunch." His face immediately turned red. "It's okay." "No," Sarah said softly. "It's not." For a few seconds, Caleb stared at the floor. Then he quietly admitted the truth. His mother had recently lost her job. The family was struggling. There were days when there simply wasn't enough food. His younger sister always ate first. Then his mother. If anything remained, Caleb would eat. If not, he would wait until dinner. Sarah felt her heart sink. The boy wasn't skipping lunch. He was sacrificing it. That evening, Sarah couldn't stop thinking about him. She remembered her own childhood. There had been difficult years, years when money was tight, years when her family relied on the kindness of others. The next morning, Sarah arrived at school early. Before lunch began, she quietly paid for Caleb's meal. She told the cafeteria staff not to mention her name. When lunchtime arrived, Caleb looked confused. The cashier smiled. "Your lunch has already been taken care of." Caleb stared at the tray, then at the cashier, then back at the tray. For the first time in days, he ate a full meal. The next day, it happened again, and again, and again. Weeks turned into months. Every morning, Sarah quietly paid for Caleb's lunch. She never mentioned it, never asked for thanks, never expected recognition. To her, it wasn't charity. It was simply the right thing to do. As the school year continued, something began to change. Caleb smiled more. His grades improved. He started participating in class. For the first time, he joined the school's writing club. One afternoon, Sarah assigned an essay titled, "The Person Who Changed My Life." Students wrote about parents, grandparents, athletes, celebrities. When Sarah reached Caleb's essay, she paused. The first sentence read, Sometimes heroes don't wear capes. Sometimes they carry attendance sheets. Sarah smiled. As she continued reading, tears slowly filled her eyes. Caleb never mentioned her name, but she knew. He described someone who noticed when nobody else did, someone who made him feel seen, someone who gave him hope during the hardest year of his life. Sarah quietly placed the essay aside. For a long moment, she simply stared at the paper. Teaching was never about money or recognition. Moments like this were the reason she stayed. Years passed. Students graduated. Classes changed. Life moved forward. Eventually, Sarah retired after 28 years in education. Her colleagues organized a retirement ceremony. Former students sent letters. Parents shared memories. It was a beautiful day. But one moment stood above all the rest. Near the end of the ceremony, a young man stepped onto the stage. Sarah immediately recognized him. Caleb Turner, no longer 12 years old. Now 26, confident, successful, and standing proudly before hundreds of people. The room fell silent. Caleb smiled. Then he began speaking. When I was a kid, my family went through one of the hardest times of our lives. Sarah already felt tears forming. There were days I came to school hungry. The audience listened carefully. I thought nobody noticed. He paused, but someone did. His voice cracked. Every day for nearly a year, my lunch was waiting for me. Many people in the room looked surprised. Sarah lowered her head. She had never told anyone. Caleb continued. I didn't know who was paying for it at first. The room grew quiet, but eventually I found out. He looked directly at Sarah. Mrs. Mitchell, you probably thought you were buying lunches. His eyes filled with tears. But what you really bought was hope. The entire room fell silent. Many people were openly crying. Caleb took a deep breath, then revealed something nobody expected. Inspired by Sarah's kindness, he had gone to college, earned a degree, and built a successful career. But that wasn't all. He had recently launched a non-profit organization dedicated to providing meals for children facing food insecurity. The organization now helped thousands of students across Ohio, all because one teacher cared enough to notice. The audience rose to their feet. A standing ovation. Sarah covered her face as tears streamed down her cheeks. For nearly 30 years, she had wondered whether her work truly mattered. Now she had her answer. After the ceremony ended, Caleb approached her. Without saying a word, he handed her a small envelope. Inside was a single note, written in his familiar handwriting. Thank you for feeding more than my stomach. You fed my future. Sarah cried harder than she had in years, because she finally understood something every great teacher eventually learns. You may never know the impact of your kindness. You may never see the seeds you plant grow. But sometimes, years later, the world reveals the difference you made. And when it does, it reminds us that the smallest acts of compassion can change lives forever.